What's up, everybody? Crapgamer here with Crapgamer Reviews, the pro pony leg breaker, if you will. Make sure you guys give this video a thumbing and or liking, and I will greatly appreciate it. And subscribe if you haven't already, because subscribing to my channel is freaking awesome, and I'm always dropping content and listening to you guys. You can hit me up on Twitter at @the_Crapgamer or on Xbox Live MOH Crapgamer. And it's interesting because, yes, I am going to be talking a lot about new hardware and things like that. And interesting situation because one of my favorite movies is Dodgeball, and one of the lines, I'm sure you guys all know it, where he goes, "That's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him." Basically where the other team doesn't show up. And that kind of got me thinking about this whole situation with Xbox Scorpio and the PlayStation 4 Neo and things like that. First of all, people will probably wait for a more powerful system, right? People will definitely wait, and Sony, on the other hand, is in a very tough position because their first-party games have completely and utterly fucking sucked this generation. They've had the worst games ever. They might have had one or two gems, even if you're really a big Uncharted fan and really a big Bloodborne fan. Outside of those games, what have they really had that's worth anything? I mean, absolutely nothing. Everything's been a letdown, from Drive Club to The Order 1886 to Street Fighter V, which Street Fighter is usually a really good franchise. Totally went out with no content, and just terrible amount of content, and just not fun. You know, you got to have game modes when you have a fighting game. But anyway, so they have no games. They've relied heavily on the "we're more powerful" stuff, right? They're not going to be more powerful. So hey, Sony, going out there with no games, less power, worse online, worse controller, that's a bold strategy. Let's see how it pays off for you. Because I admit, people are kind of stupid, but when you come out like Microsoft is and seem like you've woken the sleeping giant, I think you're going to see a lot of things start to change. The narrative changes, and don't think that it can't happen. Because look at the PS2, right? Most successful console of all time, 150 million sold. And then what happened right after that? You'd figure people would go right from PS2 to PS3. That didn't happen. Microsoft came in there and started bitch slapping Sony around, selling what, 15 million more in the US alone? You know what I mean? I think that that's what Microsoft is going to do. Not only are they going to, do I believe they're going to come out with something that's going to match the Neo this year as far as power, but they're going to start the next generation early next year. Because think of it this way. You go back to the past to see what worked well for you when you took away that market share. The original Xbox was only out 4 years, didn't do great, but when you launched a year ahead of your competition, you really can do a lot of things. So what Microsoft is going to do, hopefully, is launch their slim version this year that's going to be as powerful as the Neo and do VR and all that stuff. That's going to be your base model. Then next year, you come out with your new model, your next generational leap, and then you're going to have at least a year jump on the PlayStation 5 or whatever the hell they're going to try to call that thing. And that's going to put Sony in a very bad position because people are going to be flocking to the Microsoft console. They're the ones that have the games narrative, and Sony has lacked that. Sony has had the indie narrative and things like that, but they've lacked the real interesting things like really good online, the basic features like changing your gamer tag, you know what I mean? And now they're going to get beat in every facet of the game that makes a console, which is power, games, controllers, online. These are all important things, and Sony isn't going to have an advantage in any of those. Any of them. Think about it. It's interesting. Things are going to get interesting, and it's very funny to watch, in my opinion. Let me know what you guys think. Sound off in the comment section. Rate, comment, subscribe. Rack that shit up. Crapgamer out.